driveway if that was what it would take. I don't care. And you talk about city finance, everything boils down to money. Can you imagine the kind of money you guys would make just off the speeders on that street? It's a daily situation. I've got videos and videos and videos of it. And I just moved into the place in October. So, I mean, it is a serious situation. It needs to be looked at. I've called the non-emergency helpline. They said, well, we'll see if we can't get somebody out there, you know, but I never see anybody out there. You know? Friday, Saturday nights, ridiculous. And it goes on till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And you can look at the burnout marks just going up the street, right on Date and Grant. You can see them. There's 3 of them, plain marked, and they're brand new. You know, it's going to get serious, and it's going to kill somebody.
I'm sorry, your time has expired.
Okay.
However,
Thank you.
can we make sure somebody from either traffic or public safety reaches out to him? Just make sure you leave your contact information with the clerk, please.
He's got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bryant Rumbaugh.
Okay. I hope everybody's doing well. It's been a minute since I've been to Escondido. Is that okay? Oh, so you're the new council member. Okay, congratulations on your victory or whatnot. You know, to my fellow citizenry here, you know, I'm just an electrician, but I do go around to, you know, to these council meetings just because, you know, what we just witnessed with that gentleman right there, that was a great example of petitioning your government. You can call it redressing of grievances, trying to make an issue known, okay? For me, I have been, you know, like I say, I go to these meetings just quite simply because, you know, I'm worried about this country. And I'm not the type of guy that, you know, picks, you know, side A or side B on whichever the hot topic mess, the hot mess is, okay? You know, which side are you on? I don't play that game, okay? What I'm recognizing in our country is that, you know, we have lost our way. And that's evident between even just the disrespect that apparently goes on across the street, Dayton Grand, that gentleman was just citing. You know, when people when we're worried about show-offs seriously injuring people, I have a problem with that, okay? I'm not going to say that I haven't done it before. My point is this: us as Americans, we need to do a better job in representing what the opportunity of this country was. It is very true that we are a nation of immigrants, okay? America was so important because it gave, even last night I was speaking at Vista, and one of the council members cited constitutional rights. You know, what I can say is that our rights in this country are secured by the Constitution. Our rights are actually from our Creator, from God. There's a high likelihood that the majority of people in here believe that their life is more than just a flash in the pan. Lord knows what I've been trying to do, this message that I've been trying to get across, I fall into that category. We need to set a better example. You know, it's got to start with us being willing to recognize where it is that we went wrong. Us being able to come up with a path. And I've been saying it, and I'll continue to say it. A solution would be to take the money out of the political campaigns. I mean, I don't know how much money you had to spend to get elected. You had to go knocking and gain endorsements. Wouldn't it be nice if the citizenry was engaged? Where they actually knew that your message was going to be there for them to receive? And they realized that instead of voting against somebody, they were actually voting for Judy. Make sense? A little bit. It has to a little bit. I appreciate it. I'll do it one more time. Thank you.
Thank you.
No further public comments.
All right. That brings us to our consent calendar. Items 1 through 4 are on consent. I'll go ahead and move to approve the consent calendar as is, and would ask for a second. Second. Awesome.
Voting is
Questions,
open.
comments? Perfect. Thank you.
Motion approved, 5-0.
That brings us to item 5, consideration of entering a friendship-city relationship. And turn it over to you if you're presenting.
Yes.
Somebody else? Oh, perfect.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. I am very excited to have the opportunity to be able to present this item. A while back, the City Council considered the opportunity to have sister cities or friend cities anywhere in the world for economic benefit, for cultural exchange, for art, and a series of other benefits both to the city here and to the city outside of the country. So at this time, after meeting with a number of different people, there have come to the forefront 3 different cities that have expressed, which is part of our requirement, have expressed their interest, and I will bring this over, or have the city clerk bring this over. These are the letters that have been submitted by the mayors of these 3 cities for you to consider. They are in Spanish. That is their language. They have expressed interest, and in fact, we've had recently 2 of those mayors come to Escondido and had an opportunity to tour our facilities and have expressed a very profound desire to establish a friendship relationship with our cities here in Escondido. In fact, here among us today is a large number of people from a couple of the actual municipalities that came out here, which I thought was very interesting. It came to my knowledge that one of the municipalities in Oaxaca, we actually have a large number of people that are originally from there that live here in Escondido, which is another one of the requirements within our policy. One of the things that we have been talking about is to have this cultural exchange. We believe that it's something that would be very positive. In fact, the mayors that came to see what could be offered on their end, what would be the possibility for them to not only just say from back then, but what they can do. And they have informed me that they are willing to have their experts in the area not only be available for us, but have teams come here in order to be able to help us with our cultural exchange, art exchange. In fact, we are currently working with a art exchange exhibit in Mexico City. Currently, we are working on that and are very excited in the possibilities. And that brought us, and we have a representative from that has been sent from Mexico City to be present in case there is any questions. But one of the largest alcaldías in Mexico City is also one of the municipalities that would like to have a relationship with us. They're talking about tourism, not only for us, but for them. We're also talking about artesanía, which is a very cultural construction of different types of very cultural. I'm having a hard time to describe it, but here we could call them, it could be a dress, it could be a necklace, it could be anything of that form that comes from a cultural background. So just very generally, that is the interest, that is the expression that has been brought to me, and I bring to you their request to be part of a consideration to be friend cities with us, and together with that, there is a request for $25,000 in order to be able to move with this forward if approved by council tonight. So that is just something very general. One of the municipalities called San Jacinto de Amilpas. This is about 20,000 population there from Oaxaca. The second city municipality is called Cimatlán de Álvarez, also from Oaxaca. This is a larger municipality there in Oaxaca. And then there's from the Ciudad de Mexico, La Alcaldía de Álvaro Obregón, which has about 750,000 residents, population. We have a mix of different sizes, interests, and would bring a cultural richness to our city here in Escondido. And the whole reason this started is because we actually had a group from Escondido go and perform in Oaxaca, and this is how this was all born. And a number of the people in our, I want to say congregation because I'm a church pastor, but it's not our congregation. Here among us today are part of that group that actually went. And so that's from my heart, and that's where we're at. And I'm here to answer questions that you may have, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome. I'm gonna, let's turn it over for public comments real quick, and then we'll go from there.
Perfect. We have public comments, and I do have a few slides about the policy. If you guys need any background information on that, I can bring it up at any time you want. First speaker would be Rhiannon Boulay.
Hello again. So, I'm a homeowner, mother, wife, all that stuff. Lived there for 7 years. I come to you today.
They can't hear you.
I come to you guys today in opposition of this international partnership. It's a great idea, but it's not the time. We've got so much on our plate. As far as and my main concern here is the homeless. For a long time, I've turned my head to your actions of this council toward the homeless, how much water you waste every night running the sprinklers so that they can't lay on the grass, switching out benches so they can't lay down, being tough on crime, which is a play right out of Jim Crow playbook. And then without any supporting data, with no accountability and our property values on the line, you decided to take and reject the state's Housing First initiative. These are, I mean, the pub, and you're opting for public safety. This is your public. These people are laying on the sidewalk. How is that safe? Some of these people may have even voted you into your seats that you have right now, thinking that you would make the best decisions on their behalf. Things happen. They're not all addicts. They don't all need tough love. Your Honor, you went on Fox News and said it would be easy to get them into shelters, or to build the shelters. It'd be easy to get them into the shelters, and that it'd be hard for them to get the treatment that they needed. They're not all addicts. Some of them are families. They go to school. They have jobs. But because for one reason or another, they can't afford to get back into a place after the pandemic. Those are the people should not be punished for, and I'm not saying there's not addicts out there, but we need to do something. From my window, I can see people laying on the sidewalk at night. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's heartbreaking. When it was raining, their lights are flickering in the parking lot. I'm driving home, and it's just, I can't even imagine being hungry and tired and feeling unsafe and then having this light flicker in your face. When people have a good night's rest, what they're not doing is wandering around at night looking to break into places. When the people get a good night's rest, they're up during the day looking for, trying to be productive. The sales tax that you guys asked for, we gave you, even though we've said no in the past. We need you to put that $28 million, according to the Union Tribune, to good use. And unfortunately, this is not it. It's not time for international partnerships. It's not time for agendas. It's time to buckle down and focus on some maintenance. Focus on our city. Look internally, do some spring cleaning. Find out where we're spending too much money, look for waste. But in my research, I found even so much, and it's really concerning because I feel like I should have been on top of this, and I just let it go because, you think you guys have it under control. But if you guys want to keep your seats, because these are our seats, if you want to keep them, you need to act. You need something done about this homeless problem, because these businesses, it tops every public safety, sanitation, it tops the list on everything. These homeless are not going anywhere, and they're just growing, and we need to do something about it as a city that's compassionate and that is effective. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Julieta Lopez Rosales.
Hello, Council and Mayor. It's an honor to stand guys and speak of my experience traveling to Cimatlán, Oaxaca as a part of our Ballet Folklorico tour. This journey was honestly more than just a performance. It was a celebration of culture, tradition, and the deep roots that connect us to our heritage. From the moment we arrived, we were welcomed with open arms. The vibrant streets, the warmth of the people, and the history of the region. It honestly just made us feel at home. Performing in Cimatlán was an unforgettable experience. Dancing on the stage, surrounded by the music and the energy of the audience, reminded us of why we dedicate ourselves to this art form. But beyond the performances, what stood out most was the sense of unity. We shared stories with local dancers, we learned from their traditions, and saw firsthand how Ballet Folklorico continues to thrive across generations. It was a reminder that dance is not just movement, it's history, passion, and a way to honor those who came before us. This tour was a great privilege, and I'm super grateful for the memories, the friendships, and the opportunity to represent our culture with pride. I hope you guys take this all into consideration as you guys consider the cities of Oaxaca for our sister cities. This whole experience, being able to be in a community of Ballet Folklorico, has opened up so many doors for me, and it has really connected me with my roots. As long as I can also say for the rest of my group, we all feel very intertwined with this dance. It's honestly more than just a dance. It has allowed us to connect and experience different opportunities that aren't really open here in America as first generation. So it's honestly just a great way for us to really get back in touch with our roots as some of this culture is being lost. And I just hope you guys take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Oscar, and I apologize if I mispronounced your last name. Oh, Oscar, you should come forward. Thank you so much.
Hello. Good evening, respected city leaders and mayor. My name is Oscar Caralampio, and I'm a proud bilingual elementary school teacher. I'm also a proud Escondido neighbor, and my family and I commute to Escondido multiple times a week, even though we don't work or live here, because we love your cultural arts. You see, my daughter is part of a wonderful Ballet Folklorico group called Ballet Folklorico Calislan, under the great leadership of La Directora Marisela Salcedo. And we travel many miles to come here and invest in your local businesses because your programs here are strong and it's something that we don't have in our town. Most recently, I had the pleasure of traveling to Oaxaca, Mexico with my four-year-old son, my 7-year-old daughter, and my 66-year-old mom, and my wife. And let me tell you, the experience, even as a parent, was phenomenal and it was amazing. So many of your local students here from Escondido were able to attend the annual festival, and they learned so many leadership skills while they were there. 3 talking points. The first, the event was completely safe. From the moment we arrived, we were welcomed by the local government, and they had, everything from transportation to security and hospitality for us. So your children that attended, your students that attended, your local youth that attended were safe at all times. There was no sense of fear, there was no sense of threat, nothing. It was just welcoming environment. Secondly, the trip that the students made to Oaxaca provided so many leadership opportunities for them. They were able to communicate with people and leaders from different parts of the town, and they were communicate with community members from different indigenous backgrounds as well. Something very, very unique is that your local youth from Escondido was able to travel to a artesanía that was visited by Disney. And it was shared with us that some of the movie directors from Coco went to this artesanía, and then they got inspired. They got inspirations of the art, they got inspirations about the music, and the work that was done. They stayed there for multiple years, and then that gave a lot of inspiration to what was known, or what is known as Coco, a phenomenal, multi-million-dollar movie in the Disney industry. Your youth was able to go to that same workshop and was able to learn from it. So again, the leadership skills that these kids gained while they were in Oaxaca is something that is of its own kind. And lastly, the trip was visionary. Talk about innovative, critical thinking, and problem solving. These are the type of programs that provide growth, safety, and prosperity for the youth here in Escondido. So please, when it comes to action item number 5, I ask you to vote yes so that we can continue this wonderful partnership with the city of Oaxaca. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Marisela Saceda. Saceda, I'm so sorry. Saceda.
Hi, my English is a little bit, is my friend is the interpreter. My name is Marisela Sauceda. I live in Escondido for the 25 years. And I director for the group, the name is the Calislan. And I'm very nice for the second trip and the different states for the first time is they go to the Colombia. Is the guys is then not say no, that's why I don't like it. And the second time I go to the Oaxaca. My every students, I go to the university. Mi primera idea es que ellos todos vayan a la universidad y todos están asistiendo, la mayoría.
So her first idea behind pushing through is that all her students, her dancers, eventually have a road to going to the university, 4 year, 2 years.
Esta actividad es para que ellos estén fuera del alcance de diferentes cosas que pasan dentro de nuestra comunidad.
So she is behind her program so that the kids that are involved are out of harm's way of what's going on in the community, so that they're in the street.
Esta actividad fue algo muy impactante para ellos, para poder ellos en un futuro mirar lo que se vive en diferentes comunidades que les pertenecen a su comunidad.
So it was a very impactful trip for all the students, just to see different lifestyles versus what we live here, to what is lived.
Pienso que ese, así como tuvo un impacto para mis estudiantes, pienso que puede tener un impacto también para la comunidad aquí en Escondido.
Just how it's impactful for her students, she also believes that this can impact the community as a whole.
Al final de cuentas, todos tenemos la misma idea, que nuestros muchachos crezcan en un ambiente positivo, y esa es mi meta.
So at the end of the day, I think we're all in agreement that the goal is for the kids to grow up in a safe environment.
Y la experiencia que tuvieron en Oaxaca fue algo muy significativo para ellos, y pienso que no debemos de negar la oportunidad para que también la gente de aquí pueda sentir esa oportunidad.
So everything that they lived in Oaxaca was very significant, and she also wants that for the community here as well.
Muchas gracias a todos por su servicio y por escucharnos, y saber que cada una de las cosas, tanto tengan 30 años o 25 o 5, que nos sintamos bienvenidos y seguros aquí y podamos tener diferentes actividades que puedan traer a nuestra cultura y también puedan beneficiar a nuestra comunidad económicamente.
So thank you for
My English is a little bit.
So just thank everybody for your service, and she really wants us to push through. It would be impactful for all the students as well as the community.
Esto se la traen de Oaxaca y son de los artesanos de Oaxaca.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Stick around afterwards so I get a picture.
Our next speaker, oh yeah, sorry.
If any of our community management position, can we give extra time?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great, thank you.
Sure. Our next speaker is John Herrera.
Mayor White, esteemed members of the panel, staff, ladies and gentlemen, my name is John Herrera. I'm a citizen of Vista. Delighted to be here with you at Mr. Garcia's invitation. I am the Outreach Director of External Affairs for a relatively new foundation, Mixtecos Unidos. Founded by Dr. Alejandro Paz, who's a local doctor, has been in practice about 25 years. Currently on the board for Board Medical Center. On one of Dr. Paz's visits to Oaxaca, Mexico, he encountered this poor lady, indigenous lady, that was trying to sell some of her purses to buy prescription drugs for her child. Dr. Paz and his nephew, Victor, bought every purse that she had. he decided that it's more that he could do to help these poor persons. So he founded the foundation, and to date, he is our major funding source. We presently have a trademark from the Department of State. We have all of the legal certifications by both the United States government and the Mexican government to transact business across the border. We are a nonprofit organization. Our intent is to preserve the Mixteco culture, language, get them access to acquisition of Spanish language learning, and they're interested in learning the English language. We provided the children with instruments and musical instructions. They're now performing for the rest of the community. In addition to that, we have provided resources, equipment for them to have established a bakery, and they're now selling baked goods, and they're doing very well. They're also still producing their purses, which we are trying to sell. They go to Mexico City to sell them, and we sell them here as well. The city of Vista has a sister city relationship with one of the cities in Oaxaca. Not only am I in favor of it, but I advocate that we continue and develop those relationships so that we can provide those micro businesses for those poor persons where $300 US is an annual income if one is doing well there. We have $3 billion of fresh produce that crosses our international border annually. You can see the disparity there. So I ask you, please, when you consider a sister city with a city in Oaxaca, keep that in mind in your vote. And I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Juan Carlos Tapia.
Hello, everybody. My name is Juan Carlos Tapia. I am a resident in Escondido for 34 years. Since the '88, I've been working here in Escondido. I want to say thank you to Joe Garcia to make a connection with Mexico.
I have to go. I haven't slept since yesterday.
To our neighbors, which is Mexico. Sorry. Escondido has a lot to offer to other cities. By a city who has roots with Escondido and all the state of California for more than 100 years, influencing our lifestyle that is tangible today. We can see it, taste it, and our economy is still running with them. I'm talking about the avocado variety, El Fuerte. The whole state should do this, but let's do our part. It's the moment to recognize a city. The name of the city is called Atlisco. Right now it's a magic town in the state of Puebla for the great contribution to our state and our city. I am sure everyone in this room enjoy an avocado, a guacamole. Let's give a recognition today to that city, Atlisco, Puebla, in the state of Puebla, where the Battle of Cinco de Mayo took place. Now, Atlisco is a city it has 400 years of history. They used to be called the barn where all the grain was for New Spain. They have a festival called very close to the La Guelaguetza, which is in the state of Oaxaca. So I think it's the moment to recognize a city who is still, we can see still the avocados in the city. Over there is the father of the avocados of the avocados in the state of California. I think it's a moment to do something to say thank you to the great city who are making enjoy an avocado. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Bryant Rumbaugh.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. I love guacamole, sir. I love avocados. We actually used to be the avocado capital of the world in this little town that I grew up in, Fallbrook. You know, I have no position on this. I think it's great. You know, once again, in other words, those people in Baja, I spent a lot of time in Baja. I've been building a house down there, not for myself. Amazing people. Okay, I understand there's a cultural difference between Baja and where you're talking about. I would actually very much so like to hang out down there. But ultimately, I have no position in here, but I want you guys to, I want Americans to recognize how important it is for us to be the spearhead in a lot of ways. Okay, direct the way that the freedom for humanity goes, because ultimately we have not been doing a good job. God's laws, the laws of grammar, common sense. Once again, that Constitution secured God's laws, but the thing is that our people have vacated their seats. I don't care what type of government, democracy, oligarchy, dictatorship, communism, whatever it is, that is when the government is above the people. We had that opportunity. We have to get it back. We can talk about the petitions. That the woman who first, she is totally right. I call those people the new homeless, the newly homeless, the victims of the inflation, of the runaway spending, funding our lifestyles. In a lot of ways, we have to admit it. When we actually do the research and learn about Bretton Woods, the decoupling of the dollar, the petrodollar, all these things, the reason why a lot of those people in Baja and Mexico and many other countries are poor is because we've been printing money off of their backs. These are tough realizations for us. I know it was stuff that I wasn't taught in school. We have to do better. We do. And we can. Like I said, the first woman was completely correct. The young girl talking about it. I want to see Oscar's kids grow up in a safe and have the ability to thrive. And the woman that was here just after that. We have to do better for the kids. We have to demand more of ourselves. It can be done. Once again, just imagine if you guys as a local government knew out of the, whatever it is, 150,000 residents that are in your city, maybe 100,000, if you knew that a huge chunk of them felt one way or the other, had the opportunity to have their voices heard, as opposed to, you guys are about to, vote on an agenda item, here we are, we get our 2 minutes. Make sense? If you had that information weeks in advance, government was supposed to go slow. Not this way. All right, God bless everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for showing up here.
No further public comments on this item.
All right, I'll make my comments brief. I'm a lifelong resident of the city, and growing up, we didn't have these big cultural celebrations that we have now in the city, and it's been exciting to watch this all be incorporated. Escondido is rapidly becoming the hub for arts and culture in North County, but in San Diego County, and this is just another step of progress towards that. And I appreciate Councilman Garcia's push for this. I see the opportunity for both sides. I see this cultural exchange benefit. I see an economic benefit, bringing thousands of people to the city. And one of the things that has already started to be worked on is an art contest in which students here will have an opportunity to have art displayed back in their country and vice versa. And I'm excited for opportunities like that. So I would urge my colleagues to support this, and I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve item number 5.
I second.
Right, and I'll open it up for discussion.
Excuse me, Mayor.
We can't take any questions right now, I'm sorry.
I have one question. You were mentioning a $25,000, sorry, maybe I didn't pick up on it. What was the $25,000? Is it a stipend? Is it an allowance? What is it? It's an annual basis? What is it?
I was speaking with city manager regarding how should this approach, and it was a recommendation that he made to me to make that request for incidental costs that could be.
Understood.
So that's basically what it is.
Understood. That's all I need to know. Thank you so much.
I think too, Is there, that's okay, don't be embarrassed. Is there, do we not receive a grant for arts, a state grant or something to pay for? I was wondering if this would be covered under anything. Any
No,
revenue for the arts?
it currently
No.
is not resourced, so
Okay.
this has to advance some things that are, I don't know what requests are coming, so to cover those costs, it's not in the budget right now. I need some access to resource to help facilitate this conversation.
And there might be some in the reserves, do you think?
Well, that's where we would typically,
Okay.
unbudgeted dollars will be, to come out of reserves for the budget for these expenditures.
Well, I'm in agreement with what Mayor White said. I think it is mutually beneficial. I love the idea of the potential to where we're going to have tourism. We're going to be drawing in people from San Diego County, maybe some in California, because of the expansion of the cultural arts here. And I also like that the young people are being exposed to things beyond the border of just Escondido and seeing what's out there in the country or their culture. And I think that brings pride to them, and it expands their vision of what they may want to accomplish. And it just makes them better human beings that are living here in our city. So I really like that too. Yeah, I'm for it. I think it's great. Thank you for all your hard work. I know it was a lot of work on your part, and I really am grateful for what you're bringing to the city.
Zach, before I make my comments, can you show the presentation?
Sure. Yeah, happy to.
And then, since this is an agendized item, we can have like problems go up, right? Because it's agendized?
I guess you could, theoretically.
Okay.
What was the question?
Because someone wanted to speak on this, but it's not, it's an agendized conversation, so I would ask, I know we sometimes invite community back to speak if it's agendized, correct?
You could.
Okay.
Certainly, I think he had already spoke.
Yeah,
That was the same
yes,
gentleman.
Mr.
So if the council had questions or
Okay.
wish
I
to
wanted-
provide
I
him
was
additional
curious as
time,
to
it would be
what-
up to the mayor.
Yeah, you
What-
That's fine, we can do
Yeah,
a
but I
minute.
did, yeah. Just say, I wanted to hear what he had to say because it was nice. So, thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, the only thing I want to see is to take in consideration the city or Atlisco and the state of Puebla, because I don't see it in the, we already, before the pandemic, the people from that city came here. But with the pandemic, everything stopped. So we already talked to the city, and there is no government, but I would like to include it in this,
We can
today.
discuss other cities at a future meeting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It should be a clarifying question.
Yeah, and I can clarify that. So this is just a really quick overview of the friendship policy, Honorable Mayor and members of City Council. So the policy was adopted back in August by Resolution 2024-168. Just set forward some of the requirements to be able to establish either a friendship city or a sister city. And here are those requirements. So a friendship city, there needs to be mutual interest, citizen group eventually established. The mayor or council majority can actually create the friendship city agreement and enact this agreement, and it's established by an MOU. The sister city, the only distinction is that it requires council majority and it cannot be codified simply by the mayor's approval. There's a few other requirements that are provide more depth as it pertains to what the actual citizen group or association is, in addition to this, as to how it needs to maintain its existence in order for this agreement to maintain. I won't go into those detail, but if you want me to go back to them, I can. But the general provisions that are associated with this as well is that the relationship must be recognized by Sister Cities International. After the city approved the policy back in August, we actually are now members of Sister City International. So if this agreement goes into effect, we'd be able to register it with them.
And is it, sorry to interrupt, is it just simply adding a city onto the website and, okay.
Yeah, and they provide resources, and there's a lot of other elements that are associated with it, but really it's registering with them so that we're a partner.
And so that's a relatively small amount of staff time to do that? Okay.
Yeah, in the agreement, we're already a member of that organization.
Perfect.
And that's to use the sister city designation?
Correct.
Correct, yeah. And then after the agreement is approved, the Friendship City shall maintain active participation, and it can be terminated by council majority. So that is just a few things associated with the policy. And the proposal before you, as Councilmember Garcia mentioned, is the MOU with these 3 municipalities.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. I do have some questions on this because I was under the impression that And thank you for bringing this forward. I was under the impression in August when we had this, it was just to kind of introduce the concept and to create a process. Because I had asked about it and I had mentioned that, you know, we had conversations before this council was in place with Atlisco, actually back and forth, council approval from that council. And so I had asked about what's the process, so that, you know, more than one could be selected if that was gonna be the case. And so I had kind of been waiting for that process to come forward, so I'm a little surprised that we're already recommending cities because we haven't identified kind of like a process of like, how is it gonna be initiated? How many friendly cities are we gonna have? How many sister cities are we gonna have? What does that mean? So I feel like we skipped a step. And so I'd like to have that conversation now, about, you know, like, are we going to, because you're proposing 3 friendship cities, and just to be clear, it's friendship city, not sister city, right, that you're proposing, and what does that mean? So even for like the public's notice, you know, I'm big on process and transparency. There was really nothing, like I would have loved to see these letters in the packet ahead of time, and kind of known the history ahead of time of like how this came to be. It sounds like it was a Ballet Folklorico connection, and it went through you, Councilmember Garcia, and that's maybe why you're bringing it forward. But I'd like to kind of know what's the expectation of Friendly City proposal, and make sure that, and you know, I think it's a beautiful thing, connecting with you know, residents in Mexico and the arts. I mean, I'm all for everything. I guess for me, it's just a process question, because in September 5th of 2019, here is a letter stamped by 5 different agencies within the city of Atlisco. So it didn't just go through one mayor or one council member, the full council voted, and it had to go through the regidores, the presidencia municipal, to the Bureau of Tourism. So it had to go through certain layers just to like begin the conversation. So
was that for sister cities? Sorry to interrupt.
it was more just, it was like the same thing of what Joe's doing. It was just to explore the possibility, but like just to, hey, we're interested in talking more, right? So, and the thing is, this happened in September 2019, and then the pandemic hit, and then of course our whole council changed, right? Except for me. But then the council and at least will change. And so I have also been sensitive to the fact that our priorities, we didn't have the money, the staff bandwidth, which we still have staff bandwidth issues. And so I was very being considerate of the resources and the priorities of our city, but still hoping that one day that shelved conversation would come back. And so I just, you know, I'm not opposed to this idea, but I want to be assured that I know what I'm voting on and what I'm committing to, because I'm hearing like a $25,000 budget. Is that for like 3 cities? We haven't even talked about how many friendly cities we're gonna have. And I think it's fair for all of us to be able to propose a friendly city, not just, you know, one person with 3 friendly cities. So I wanna kind of get clarity around like what we're agreeing to. And then I don't feel comfortable voting on the budget yet until we determine a process. And procedures for how this comes forward, and like what's the connection, and kind of defining things a little more, because everything's pretty, you know, general right now. And then we still haven't gone into our budget workshop, so I just want to be considerate that there's like many ideas in the community, many budget asks, and I want to make sure that those budget asks are done in a timely, transparent process where other folks have the possibility to also participate, right? And not just like, hey, get to the head of the line in that conversation type of thing. Like you know, the gentleman here, Mr. Tapia, had said, you know, this conversation started over 5 years ago, and he's been very patient. So yeah, just having some consideration for conversations that have taken place before, and making sure, like, you know, someone new who approaches way later, is it kind of prioritized over someone who has engaged the city, you know, years ago. And I know you know about them, Joe, because I mentioned them to you, and I know that you all have met, and I even like, they've actually come to the city. So There's communication between the city. The city has like a whole file on them. Here's a photo of a plaque given by the California Association of Avocado Growers, because the Fuerte avocado was actually comes from the seed in Atlisco that gave birth to the avocado industry. So there's a direct tie with our agriculture, and even acknowledgement from the California Avocado Growers Association of that direct link. And if you go to Atlisco today, you can still see the sun tree, I think the family tree of the one that gave birth to that. So again, this is not to overshadow or sabotage in any way what you're trying to do. I think it's great. I just want to make sure that there's a fair process where that conversation that started way before, is also maybe included in this. And then the budget asks that we wait on that until we kind of see what we're committing to. So, like I said, I would be very open to that. Lo voy a decir en español bien breve. No estoy opuesta a lo que quiere hacer mi colega, pero en 2019 tuve conversaciones con el gobierno, ayuntamiento de Atlisco, Puebla, porque tenemos una directa conexión con ellos, con nuestra agricultura. Y ese proceso no se continuó porque la pandemia, hubo un cambio en el ayuntamiento, hubo un cambio aquí en nuestro ayuntamiento. Entonces, para respetar las conversaciones que existieron antes, hace unos años, me gustaría incluirlos en esta lista. Y yo esperaba primero, cuando pasamos esta póliza en agosto, que íbamos a crear un proceso para ciudades de hermandad y ciudades de amistad, que íbamos a tener un proceso claro para saber cómo también nosotros podemos proponer otras ciudades también, ¿verdad? Porque yo he estado esperando y quería ver primero el proceso, y pienso que nos adelantamos un poco con eso. También di la muestra de esta carta de septiembre de 2019, donde hay fechas de 5 diferentes mesas directivas, fueron los regidores. La presidencia municipal tuvo que ir por diferentes, como 5 buros de la mesa directiva del turismo para poder continuar la conversación, ¿verdad? No era una conversación, y parece que también eso se inició con una conversación. Y sé que so now I'll go back in English. Sorry, I actually have my water, but I don't have it, so I'm getting a little dry now. And I know, Councilmember Garcia, you also hosted a delegation at the Center for the Arts, and I'm not really sure what that was about, but, so I feel like you have taken steps, and I would just kind of like to take a step back and just be like, hey, what's the process that we're gonna follow? Because, like I said, there was a conversation started earlier, and again, it's not to derail or say that I don't support it, but I just want to be clear on the process so that, Atlisco can also participate in that. So those are just my initial comments. I don't know if you want to respond or yeah.
If it's all right, I have one thing I forgot to add in my presentation, I just wanted to highlight in the resolution that was passed back in August, Deputy Mayor, is there is a provision in here that it can be proposed by any council member, can propose a request consideration for a friendship city or a sister city. So the current process, if another city wants to be proposed, any council member can do that.
Okay, so in the process, so what is proposing? Is that in writing? Is that like an application? Or is that just us saying, hey, I want this city?
I think it's an agenda item.
It would be the equivalent of getting it on a future agenda and to place it.
So I want to, okay, thank you for that. Because it's like I said, it's very general. So it could, so if that's like, if this is kind of how we're going to do it, it's like just agendize a conversation by us getting approached. We might get approached by 20 cities. Do we cap it? I guess I kind of want to know, right? Because right now there's 3 cities being proposed, and so I want to make sure I'm not getting ahead of myself by saying yes, 3 cities, and then later on there's no room for Atlisco.
What was the? I can't remember where we discussed. At one point there was a cap in here, or there wasn't. We had that conversation somewhere, but I don't remember where. What was involved.
We discussed the cap, but we never established anything regarding a cap. We discussed one of the items that I discussed regarding that specifically was, are we going to look at a cap regarding a specific country? Was also one of the issues that I brought up. I brought that up. So I had initially said that I saw most of the, or I saw a number of the cities, it's probably more accurate to say that a number of the cities would do these relationships with only one city per country. But then I began to see other cities doing a number, 2 or 3 or 4 different within the same country. That was a discussion that we had. Regarding specifically the question, yeah, it's in the policy. I'm the drafter of the policy, that it would allow any one of us to agendize, to propose a city, but we didn't decide to put a cap on it. The way I see it, it is, as we bring it forward, then we make a decision. I am not opposed, unfortunately, the documents that you're bringing forth are all from predate all of us, including myself being the second largest serving member now here, right?
And you
So,
know we've been in starvation mode since then, so that's why I haven't, right? Because I've been mindful of priorities of the city and bandwidth.
Yeah, and this is exactly in line, as we have various examples of how this has a positive economic impact. I mean, just that weekend that this delegation came from Oaxaca, uninvited by me. They were invited by one of our local dance groups here that happened to go over there. This was not an official delegation invited by the city. We don't have the authority to be able to invite because we don't have a relationship in order to be able to do that. So they came, I hosted, as everyone was invited by email from the participants or the organizers of the event that any of us could attend.
Yeah, I wasn't, just for the record, I wasn't invited.
All I can repeat is that the invitations, what I was told, the invitations went out to every single one of us by email. If that didn't happen, then that's something that we'll have to take up with the organizers of the event. But the point being that there is a positive economic impact in addition to the cultural impact that comes to the city. The $25,000 is simply in order to have resources available to be able to help whatever needs to be done in order to facilitate these relationships if approved tonight. But the policy was written the way it was written in order for any of us to be able to propose to bring forward. In addition to that, it was also made the difference between friend cities and sister cities, because we were not members of the Sister Cities International organization at that time, which would, at that point, the discussion was that it needed to go all the way up to the federal government. And as I understand, in Mexico, they have a similar process where in order to be a sister city, you need to go through this process all the way up to the federal government. So I realized that in my research that there was this beginning step. Would I like us to become officially sister cities? I think that would be a good thing. But initially, the first step is friend cities, which is something that we have the authority by our own policy to be able to approve.
Yeah, I was going to say, to answer your question specifically, I think it just seems unfamiliar because we haven't been through it, and it's probably a little sloppier than it could have been. However, the policy was established on how to become a friendship city or sister city, and the next step in this case would have been to request an agenda item, present memorandums of understandings, and that's what Councilman Garcia has done. And I think if this was, if your delegation had been here 2 weeks ago, you could have reported out at the last city council meeting, and we all would have been more familiar, but that just happened. And I'm assuming that will get reported out tonight. So just kind of poor timing, I guess, on tonight's thing. And again, a little bit messy because we're unfamiliar, but this is the step process. And I would encourage you on a future agenda to add.
So that's why I want to know, are we going to have a conversation about, and that's what, the reason that I'm asking, Mayor, is because my vote tonight's vote for me would be, is supporting 3 at one time going to limit the possibility or, impact us, future council members?
I think it encourages it.
Okay, I just want to be clear, because that's not safe to someone, I don't want to kind of shoot myself in the foot, or to shoot, kind of shoot something down that has been started. So that's a clarification for me.
I understand completely. I have received recently that there's a possibility of request of another very large and economic powerful city in Mexico that would like to have a relationship with us. So I don't see this as in any way, shape, or form stymieing any discussion regarding who possibly can be. And like I said, I wrote it specifically for any one of us to be able to bring this by agenda, our normal process. So that's
May
what I
I
would say.
May I make a friendly amendment?
Sure.
Thank you. So again, because I don't want to, sabotage, and it seems like there's openness for my colleagues to introduce, future additional things. I would say that I would support the friendly city, without the budget at this time, just so we can see what other cities we can have, and then that can maybe determine what an appropriate budget would be, depending on the number of cities we have. And I'd like to have a proposal of what the money could be used for. So there's some accountability pieces baked into that. So my friendly amendment would be to support the item without the budget piece for now.
Mr. Mayor, may I speak?
Oh, no.
Someone up to speak.
Hang on just a minute.
And just for clarification, so the motion is to approve the memorandums of understanding at a $25,000 rate, up to $25,000. That was seconded by Councilmember Fitzgerald. If an amendment is agreed upon, it would have to be agreed upon by both.
I was just going to ask Councilman Garcia if he agrees to that.
No, I don't.
Okay. Then the motion just stays as is.
Well, don't the people, was it you and
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry, you were the second.
Yeah, you were. Oh, you did second?
Yeah, I did do the second, yeah.
So then we have to vote, right?
Say what?
If I propose it and she seconded it, don't we have to vote on it?
Oh, no.
She seconded
Clarification.
my motion.
She seconded your motion, so if the amendment is to be accepted, both the seconder and the maker of the motion
So do I
have
have
to.
a second for my amendment?
Do you accept the amendment to the motion to exclude the budget?
No, I don't.
Then the motion stands as is. I'm going to hold off on any other public comments until we can talk after the meeting.
Yeah, she just brought her guy up. That's okay.
The mayor is running the meeting, so he has to approve.
I forgot what I was just going to say. No, it's okay. That's what it was. One of the things that I think could also help with this in the long run is to amend the actual policy. Item number 13 talks about the termination of friendship cities or sister cities, and I think maybe adding a 14th point that says that the relationships will be evaluated every 6 months or something like that, but we can do that at a future date.
I actually, if I,
It's not agendized. It's
No,
an
no, no.
amendment to
We have
the
to-
policy.
No, that's why I said at a future
Yes.
date.
Right.
I thought that you were going to make a friendly amendment to include at least.
Well, I would, but I would want to, I feel like there needs to be, I would like them to know, because I have not engaged. So I would need to reach back out to them. So I would want to do that before putting it on an agenda, and then, you know what I'm saying?
But we could extend an invitation.
Okay,
and then
so-
move on from there.
Yeah,
I
so
think
then,
that's-
okay, let me try this. So then, because this is just a beginning conversation, it's not committing us to trips or things like that. How about a friendly amendment, adding that Lisco, Puebla, Mexico, and then having us be able to, this budget, just a budget on the budget. So because we haven't budgeted for this, we don't have a pot of money for it to come from. We'd have to provide direction on where that comes from, I'm assuming. So then could that be folded into the budget conversations? And then, if we decide to add the fourth city, right, then we decide kind of what's that budget gonna look like. Is that, because for me, it's about the transparency.
Can I ask a point of clarification on that? So is your amendment to add that city?
Yeah, and that's just for, so.
Point
to-
of order
To
then.
engage.
Can we without an MOU?
No,
That's what I
no,
asked.
it's not agendized.
That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
And
it-
that's why I
Only
didn't, that's why I hadn't added them, because I feel like that step needs to be taken, right? And I didn't know what that saying, anyone can bring it forward, but I didn't even know, like, what does that mean? Like, hey, I want to agendize that, I want to bring it forward, so now I'm going to start the MOU process. So what I would have thought is like, hey, I'm interested in exploring Sister City, I would like to draft an MOU, and I'm assuming that's a staff direction for staff to draft an MOU. So that's why I'm confused on the process.
And I could speak to the process a little bit more. So, per the policy, there has to be mutual interest between the two municipalities. So it seems like there already was expressed
There
interest,
was, and
but it would necessitate going back to them to
Exactly.
determine. If that is the case, then asking for a future agenda item, and then when it's placed on the future agenda, then an MOU very similar to the ones that were crafted would be put into the agenda packet for consideration by
Okay.
council.
So I want to support this, Councilmember Garcia. I want to support it, and I want you all to hopefully be flexible on the budget. So I wanted to see what options on the budget. If I approve the budget, how do we, the accountability on what that, because that's, the thing is, there's no budget attached to this. So I wouldn't even know what that $25,000 does. And if you leave it
Didn't we-
open, then one group can use that money instantly.
Isn't it a point of order that we've already discussed and come to the determination that there is no moving forward regarding the budget? So why we continue to discuss?
No, we
that?
are, because you said that you didn't agree to it.
I know, so that was the end of it, and the second also didn't agree.
So then I'm
to it.
trying to create another friendly amendment, and that's why I'm asking.
But
that
it's the same
clarification.
one. pretty
No, because I
much.
want to know about, if I was to support the budget, what's the process going forward? I want to know what the process is. Like, is that something that's going to require us to vote again, because we haven't budgeted for that? So then, like, on what that budget proposal will be.
I actually think, to your point, a future agenda item, bringing the policy back to include the change that I had mentioned and direction around the budget and what it can be used for would be appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, future
Okay,
agenda.
got it.
Yeah, that's what
That's right.
Yeah, future
the
agenda.
motion on the floor as it currently stands
I
is to
appreciate
approve the MOUs in a budget up to $25,000
Yes.
for these particular friendship cities. That's what
Okay,
the motion.
And then just on the question that I had asked, is there like a secondary step to that if this was to go through?
No, there's no.
It's just, it gets allotted and it,
Yeah.
a fund will be determined or a pot will be determined?
There will be a fund created in the city council budget around this initiative.
Okay, can you just speak to what you feel that, why you came up with the $25,000 figure and what that would be used for, since it's not in the documentation for transparency?
As I already stated, it was a question that I asked the city manager, because not having gone through this prior, I wanted to see what the feeling was, what was a number that was realistic, something that we could have some resources to work with. So if you're asking me if I have a budget, no, I
Yeah,
don't
okay,
have
got
a
it.
budget.
Well, if you don't mind, can I interrupt?
No,
I know travel got discussed, but one of the things that I'm interested in is if we do have people coming from out of the country to be hosted here, providing lunch, or if there are needs at the Center for the Arts and things like that, I think it would be totally appropriate to have a small budget set aside for that.
Okay, so I'll just say how we're gonna vote and then I'll let us move on. Thank you for answering my questions and hearing my hesitations on some of this. So, I support the discussions and with the communities that are listed here. I don't know these specific communities. I've never visited Oaxaca. I would love to. I love the food, the semilla. I love it, love it, love it. So I support all of that. I would just say I still have like reservations on the $25,000. That doesn't mean, and I am in favor of bringing, so having an agenda item to kind of fix the concerns that I'm raising. The one thing that I'm just not comfortable with, and again, I hope that there will be a remedy for that in the future, is the budget part. So I'm going to not support it as it currently stands. That doesn't mean I don't support the friendly city, and I just want to make that very clear. Voy a votar no en ese momento porque no estoy a gusto con la propuesta de $25,000. me gustaría arreglar ese problema y pues saber más sobre para qué se va a usar ese presupuesto. Y el público debe de saber para qué se va a usar. Entonces es más para, esas son la duda es la presupuesta y de dónde viene ese número y para qué sería utilizado el dinero. Entonces, por favor, no interpreten mi voto de que no apoyo eso, porque sí apoyo que tengamos amistad con diferentes comunidades diversas. Es solamente que no estoy a gusto con la parte de la presupuesta que está incluido como parte de esto, y nosotros como funcionamos aquí tenemos que votar sí o no en lo que se está presentando ante nosotros, y en este momento mi colega no quiere dejar la presupuesta, quiere incluirlo en esto. Entonces esa es la única razón de que voy a votar no, pero por favor sepan que tengan mi apoyo. Con gusto los apoyo en otras cosas y posiblemente, y sí sé que va a pasar, pero es la única razón por cual yo no voy a votar en este momento, es porque no estoy a gusto con la cantidad de la presupuesta, y me gustaría hablar más de cuál es el proceso adecuado para determinar una figura para cada ciudad que va a ser ciudad de la amistad. Nada más quería decir eso antes de mi voto, por favor. Y el alcalde es el que da el permiso para hablar. Disculpe que yo no puedo dar ese permiso.
No, es lo que
pero podemos hablar después y me
pero
quedo al fin.
para que tengas un poquito más de lo que, por la cuestión que estamos aquí hablando.
Sí, I'm sorry.
That's
Want to
fine,
say
we can do
something?
1 more minute.
Thank you. And can the gentleman who wants
Yeah,
to-
that's fine,
thank
1
you.
minute.
I think they just want to give clarification where I'm not hearing clarification. El alcalde dice que van a poder hablar, so les va a dar permiso. Thank you, Mayor, I appreciate it. It's messy, and this is what I'm trying to like untangle.
Thank you, Mayor, for the minute. I'll make it quick, of course. We're talking about, I want to pivot the conversation from the process to legality. All of this is legal, right? So we are not breaking any bylaws, we're not breaking any codes, anything. So again, I think that everything has been done in a legal matter, following the bylaws, following the policies that the city council has approved. Now, if it may feel rushed, that is a feeling that is, subjective to a person. However, I just don't want you to put out the fire that the kids have. This is student-led. If we wait 5 more years, the students here that went to Oaxaca and created leadership and came back, and Julieta, the coach for my daughter, or my goddaughter's ballet folklorico team, she won't be able to put that in her college applications. If we wait 5 years, she won't be able to put that in her resume. If we wait 5 years, this opportunity will be gone for her to be able to use this investment that you're putting in. She won't be able to use it. Her and the other kids from Escondido High School, from Orange Glen, from the Lago Academy. Thank you.
And I just want to say, my interpretation of what Councilmember Martinez is saying is not to put out the fire of the kids or anything like that. I think she has a concern that just hasn't been addressed to her satisfaction, but I can clearly hear she has expressed support for the item itself. So I just wanted to make that clear. I don't think that's the council's interpretation of what she's saying.
Thank you, Mayor. That's correct. And no one's asking for an extension of time. It's just exclusion of that or more transparency about what the budget could be to see if that's the appropriate number or not.
Te lo voy a decir en español,
Claro.
porque así ya tú les puedes
Y yo
traducir.
los
Ok, tengo el minuto mío y el de Julieta.
I'm going to say this in Spanish.
Thank you, Joe.
I'm going to say this in Spanish. I have my minute and Julieta's minute.
Ok, la cuestión porque se platicó esto es que hay proyectos que nos gustaría tener aquí en la ciudad. Hay proyectos que vienen...
Necesitamos a alguien que te
ven
traduzca.
para que...
Oh, okay, sorry. El abogado dice que no
Sí,
puede.
it's okay.
Well, for purposes of the minutes,
Thank
I
you.
think it's helpful
No,
for people
sorry,
to understand.
I'm so sorry.
Okay,
My
no,
English is a little bit...
No problema.
Puede traducir. Julieta can translate for you.
La cuestión es porque queremos eventos aquí en la ciudad. Yo pienso que ya es tiempo de que se nos considere como organización que somos. Nunca nos hemos acercado nada a la ciudad para pedir, y del presupuesto que se está hablando es un estimado porque queremos tener una banda de música de México, queremos tener artesanos aquí, queremos tener una cultura, comida tradicionales de allá.
So she's trying to point out what the budget is being asked for, about like having money for like food and handmade crafts that come from our Friendship City that's coming, and she thinks it's time that this is brought forward for the community.
¿Y cómo vamos a mover a todos ellos?
And so how are we gonna move all these people around?
Eso,
We
los
need funding.
$25,000 serían como, podríamos decir, una inversión en,
So she
en
wants to
nuestra
take the
ciudad,
$25,000 as
la cual
like,
estamos,
investing in our city.
estamos pensando en la economía de lo que puede traer aún más de ganancia, invirtiendo esa cantidad de dinero para poder tener un buen stage que no tengamos que presentar en un centro de
In
arte.
fairness to everybody else, I gotta stop.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you. I thank you so much, Mayor, for that. That's helpful because she's providing context on what the 25,000 would be used for, which is what I've been asking, and I wasn't getting that answer. And then, so in good faith effort, and because I've received more information, and I'm gonna hope that my colleagues support me when I need a second to bring forward at least school. Because there's 3 cities, which 25,000, so I'm assuming it gets divvied up between the 3?
I think it's for the whole program at this point.
Okay, got it. Okay, then I've changed my mind. And I will be supporting it, and I would hope that my colleagues support at least school coming to the, a future agenda item. So, voy a cambiar mi voto, porque me dieron más información, la cual estuve preguntando y no tenía respuesta. So, muchas gracias al alcalde por dar la oportunidad. Thank you, Mayor, for that opinion. So, voy a cambiar y voy a apoyarlo en este momento, y también voy a darle seguimiento a la otra ciudad que ha estado esperando 5 años. Gracias. Thank you. I'm ready.
Councilman?
Oh, did you?
Oh, that's
It's okay. Thank you. Sorry about that, my apologies.
It's just not a potted plant.
All right, so I get 45 minutes, right?
How's it going?
Thank you for the initiative. I think, given that, you know, that Escondido is more than 50% Hispanic, there's a lot of people here that don't necessarily have the opportunity to connect with our roots. And I think that this is a really good opportunity for people, the community, to connect with our roots back in Mexico. And I just want to thank you for the initiative, the work that's been put behind it, the people who are here that have put the work behind it. I think you're a champion for our culture, for our people, and thank you so much. That's it.
Anybody else? There's a motion and second.
Thank you for a lively discussion.
Please open the voting.
Voting is open. Motion approved, 5-0.
All right, we'll move on to future agenda items. Sorry, you can clap real quick if you want. I have a request for an agenda item. I would like the council to consider a policy, a priority policy around housing, and specifically for sale middle-income housing.
I second that.
Perfect.
I also have something for a future agenda. You guys could entertain it. I want to explore a policy for local ordinance. Sorry. I want to explore a policy for local ordinance that all new affordable housing developments must prioritize current Escondido residents. So all new local ordinance, any new development that's happening in Escondido has to prioritize Escondido residents.
Has a second? I
I'd
was
like
going to say, are you going to bring that
Yes.
one down? Okay.
And again, it might not, I'm not requesting at the next meeting because I have to, but I would like to add for future agenda the recommendation of, we'll start for Friendly City, we'll start there, for at least Puebla, as well as Mayor, like the recommendation of revisiting the guidelines now that we've gone through the process to see how it can become more clear. So those 2 items.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
All right. Council members, subcommittee reports, and other reports. Sir?
I have a CEA meeting tomorrow. I'll update you after it happens. As always, thank you my community for the privilege of serving.
Deputy Mayor?
I'm trying to think if I went to any meetings within the last week. Check. So I did go just to the, it's their last week, so happy Black History Month, it's almost over. There is this amazing exhibit at the Photographers Eye Collective, I believe that's called. It's right next door to where the farmer's market is. And it is amazing in honor of Black history. So the photographer is his, I don't know, great-grandfather, great-great-great-grandfather, who was enslaved, happened to have acquired land, and I believe in Texas, and eventually lost the land, and so his now, relative is going and did a whole photography on what it is looking at the land. So it's just a really beautiful exhibit that pays homage to his roots and also the history of slavery in the United States. So highly recommend seeing that before March 1st. And I don't think I have any subcommittee meetings. So that's all I have.
Sir?
Yes, I would like to report. I had NCTD meetings since our last meeting, and we're just trying to continue moving forward with the nomination process. We'll be working on some of the committees that have to, specifically the MISBITA, the marketing committee. I'll be a member. I am a member of that committee. I've been nominated to be chair of that committee for NCTD. I also had today a North County Dispatch JPA meeting and had the opportunity to be able to represent our city and speak with the chiefs regarding some of the resources that we have available in our area here and request for them to consider how those resources can be applied in a wider sense. So it was just it was a non-agendized item. It was just something that I wanted to bring to them, and it was pleasant for me to hear how much work is already going on across the area here for the fire departments. There is a request that one of the small fire departments, on one of the reservations, to be a full member. So that's a discussion that we have moved back to the fire chiefs to discuss, and staff to bring a recommendation to us. We'll be dealing with that a little better, or dealing with it in May. So that's mainly, those were the main discussions that we had at North County Dispatch. And Tisitosa was an incredible event, as usual. It's a yearly event with one of the largest folklore, or the largest folklore dancers event in Southern California. This year, our amount of dancers went down from about almost 1,100. We got to about 900, but we also cut out one day, or they cut out one day. It was an incredible event. These delegations that came specifically for that event, didn't come to Escondido for anything else. Had an opportunity to be able to share the richness of Escondido, our arts. We showed them different aspects of it, and they left in love with what Escondido offers culturally and artistically and education-wise, and a series of other things. So that's what I have to report, and those were the subcommittees and meetings that I've had.
Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Yes, no subcommittees, but I did, the Escondido Chamber of Commerce Charitable Foundation Rising Stars Scholarship Program started up again. So we were able to give out 10 scholarships. So that's a record for us. So again, it's for underprivileged youth who have gone through some hardships but have still persevered, and it's not necessarily the straight A students, and it's not necessarily scholarships for college, it's for trade school or whatever it is that they're passionate about to be able to make a living out of. So that's really good. Once a month on our Wednesdays. Also the young professionals, I was able to go and speak to a group of young professionals, and there's a lot of them here in Escondido, young entrepreneurs, people that want to open businesses, so it's really exciting that they want to be a part of our city. Also, Visit Ministries is an organization that works with churches, so it's a group of churches. I met with some pastors and the leaders at Visit Ministries, and it's a group of churches that come together. It is funded by the churches, and essentially it is to have a location in an area where there's low income, high crime, and they're trying to just give kids something to do after school, including feeding them. They found that a lot of kids, that's probably the only meal that they get if they're not getting one at school. So they want to do something like that here in Escondido. So I'm looking forward to hearing more on that. But there are several churches here that I've been able to connect with them. Also this Saturday, Paco Pablo is going to be hosting an art show. So again, Paco Pablo, a Mexican artist, and he's also very involved in the Sister Cities thing. And it's going to be, it's Worlds Within Worlds. So he's going to be hosting an art show by David Audenbach. And it's going to be this Saturday from 3 to 6 at the mall, bottom floor, as you walk towards Target. Okay, so I hope to see you guys there. It's really phenomenal.
Did he move?
Yeah, they did.
That's what I thought, because I saw his stuff on the top floor.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so Friday was the joint Regional Planning and Transportation Subcommittee meetings for SANDAG, where we reviewed the 2025 Regional Transportation Plan, which all of you should know is reliant upon 4 additional sales tax increases over the next 6 or 8 years. Yesterday I was able to head up to Rincon and meet with a member of the Tribal Council just to continue to build the relationships there. And I cannot remember if I announced this, so I'm going to announce it again. We're having the first ever, hopefully annual, mayoral art contest done in partnership with the Escondido Art Association, and there's currently a call for art out. It is Escondido themed, hoping to display some of the winners here at City Hall. They'll be displayed at the gallery, and there are real cash prizes, like $500 cash prizes for the winners. So please, if you know an artist who would love to participate in an Escondido themed contest, have them apply or submit their art through the Escondido Art Association. Thank you. City Manager?
Nothing to report.
Awesome. This meeting is adjourned.